everybody. Welcome to the Glen Kuiper Show. On a post-game edition. Is the postseason not fun or what? We just saw a terrific ball game. And we got a good show tonight. We got a great baseball panel. We're going to talk about not only the game we just saw, but the ALCS as well. We'll talk a little bit about the Giants' managerial search and some other things that are going on around baseball. So we got a good show tonight. It's going to be fun. I will introduce you to our panel in just a moment, and we'll get to all the goodies that we're going to talk about today. But first, as always, we have some business to attend to. As the Glen Kuiper Show is brought to you by, as always, the Carrig Real Estate Team. Carrig Real Estate Team has been helping families buy and sell homes across the Bay Area with a legacy of client-first service since 1978. Whether you're moving up, downsizing, or making your first home purchase, trust the Carrig Real Estate Team to guide you home. Call the Carrig Real Estate Team at 925-548-4132. Their website is carrigteam.com. We're also brought to you by Tilden Properties. As an investor, one of the best places to put your money is California's multi-family real estate. By investing with Tilden Properties, you'll see quarterly dividends and equity buildup in the real estate market. Go to their website and check out their portfolio at tildenproperties.com and give them a call at 925-209-8558. And we're also brought to you by Vallone Insurance. Vallone Insurance is, if you're tired of being overcharged for property insurance, Vallone Insurance has multiple options for your home and landlord properties. Check them out. Save big money on your property insurance by calling Kyle or Ron at Vallone Insurance. There's the number, 925-433-8271. All right. So let's get to our show and let's get to our guest because it's a great panel. I enjoy talking to these gentlemen each and every time I'm either on their show or they're on my show. And let's start with the great Marty Lurie. Everybody knows Marty, one of my best friends. Marty's been dying to talk about this game. I know that. Also, Rick Smith. Rick's been on our show. He's on Marty's show a lot. We love Rick, good, solid Giants fan. And last but not least, Eric Romo. He's got his own show as well. And he helps us out on the Glen Kuiper Show. Three excellent sports baseball guys that I love talking to. So, gentlemen, thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. We're going to talk about tonight's game, the ALCS, a little bit, and we're just going to kick a bunch of this postseason stuff around, including the game that just ended. Terrific game with the Dodgers hanging on to beat the Brewers 2-1 in the first game of the NLCS. And Marty, I'm going to start with you, and we'll talk in depth about this game, but just kind of your general feelings about what you saw tonight, because a lot of pitching, but all in all, it turned out to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, it's tough to hit in this National League. This Blake Snell is tough. Yamamoto is tough. Glasnow is tough. Priester is tough. Patrick is tough. Everyone you see is tough, and we're going to see 7 games, I think, just like this. And when it comes down to the bullpen with the Dodgers, and it's been this way for the entire month of September and the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. And boy, Dave Roberts rolled the dice big time by taking Snell out after 8 at about 100 pitches. And then he went in a 2-0 game and brought Sasaki in, who immediately got in trouble. And it ends up 2-1 in favor of the Dodgers, with Blake Trinan, believe it or not, getting the last out and getting Turang to chase. That was a ball. And boy, that would have been bases loaded, 3-2 to Turang with Trinan on the hill. That could have been really crazy. So a good game, solid game. Had one of the craziest double plays that I've ever seen in my life in it that cost the Dodgers a big run in the 5th inning. And I don't know. I just thought it was a good baseball game.
Rick, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a great game. Everybody was thinking the same thing when Snell finished the 8th. What was Roberts going to do? I mean, he threw 100 pitches, but and Snell kind of can be delicate sometimes, so you don't know how he's feeling about it. But I would have kept him in there with a 2-run lead. The extra run kind of forced Roberts' hand. He was already thinking about taking him out if they got another run. They got another run. He took him out. And Sasaki looked vulnerable there. He wasn't throwing strikes. His control wasn't that good. He was shaky. That last pitch, I can't blame the batter. He can't take strike three. He just can't do it. He's got to swing, although it was definitely a ball. I thought it was a really interesting game from a strictly baseball standpoint in terms of the strategy and as Marty said, the pitching was so dominant. I've never seen a double play like that. Watching baseball for a long time. I don't blame the base runners, tell you the truth. I mean, it looks so weird. I couldn't tell if he caught it or didn't catch it. When I saw it off the wall, I mean, they were totally. I think the third base ump was gesturing what to do to the runner on third, but it was mass confusion. And you got to give the defensive team credit for playing that the right way. That throw home was terrific. Good for them. It was a great game. The Brewers are a good team. So are the Dodgers, unfortunately.
Yeah, Hernandez screwed that play up big time.
Absolutely, he did. Yeah,
it's a fly ball. As soon as it hits the guy's glove, you're gone.
Yeah,
he's against the fence.
Yeah,
why is Hernandez even off the bag?
Yeah, let's get Eric's feelings on the game in its entirety, and then we'll start picking it apart a little bit more.
Yeah, and you guys have already talked about the key of the game was the pitching. Unbelievable, 1-0 going into towards the end there, and it's like, what's going to happen? Are the Brewers going to show up? Are they going to hit? Similar to like what Toronto has been doing, or I should say lack of doing with Seattle. Normally they're a team that makes a lot of contact, and the Brewers just didn't seem to be able to make a lot of contact. Again, credit to Blake Snell, the guy who's been notorious for not getting past 5 innings, goes out there, tosses 8 strong. In comes Roki Sasaki, who's been absolutely dominant in the postseason. Got a little rattled, I think. I think the crowd got to Roki Sasaki today, and I think the Brewers are able to capitalize. Unfortunately, just not enough.
Yeah, let's start with Blake Snell, and we've all touched on him a little bit. We saw him with the Giants last year. We saw him at his best with a no-hitter. Same type of year this year where he was hurt at the beginning. He only made 11 regular season starts, but we saw it last year too. I honestly think when Blake Snell is on, and he was on tonight, I think he's as good as any pitcher in all of baseball. I really believe that. And tonight, he was on, right? And what he did in the 7th inning made me just go, man, this guy is special. He went through the 7th inning, 3 up, 3 down. And guys, he did not throw one fastball in the 7th inning. That's how good his secondary stuff is. He's got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that he can paint inside and outside. And he did not throw one fastball in the 7th inning. Bang, 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 3 outs. His changeup is as good as really any changeup in baseball. All in all, 10 strikeouts, 1 hit, 103 pitches. He was vintage today, but I'm a believer that when he's on, when his stuff is there and he's got his good control, which he had it all going tonight, he is as good as anybody in baseball.
Well, he's been this way the whole month of September and throughout the whole playoffs, and he's a pitcher. And I sat and I thought the same thing, and I said to myself, all right, is he better than Skeens? Is he the best pitcher in this league right now? Forget about Skubal and the American League and Crochet and that kind of stuff. But in this National League, is there anybody better than this guy right now? He's a pitcher, and he's got command of this stuff. And 103 pitches, it's not in his DNA. Let's face it. This goes back to Tampa Bay and, all the way he's been handled, the way the Giants handled him most of the time, too. He was hurt for a good part of the year. You're not going to let him go 120. It's just not going to happen, especially when you have Sasaki, who had done well in that he was anointed the closer. So he gave him his 8 innings. It reminded me of the story of Mike Moore. When Mike Moore went to the A's the first time, he threw 8 great innings. And Tony La Russa said, all right, Mike, you're done. Mike said, what do you mean I'm done? He said, Eck gets the 9th. That's his inning. And with Snell, he gave him 8 great innings, and the closer gets the 9th. And that's just the way it goes. But it was a heck of a performance for Snell. And I will say this again, Hernandez screwed up that play on the bases. That was ridiculous what he did. That's almost as bad as the infield fly rule thing that got screwed up. Come on, he's on third. There's a fly ball. Where are you going? either if it's a short fly ball, you may go halfway to see if it drops. This was against the fence. You're standing on the bag. If the guy catches it, you walk in. If he drops it, which he did do, you walk in anyway. This guy's off the bag and goes back and can't even get back there. I'm sorry, Rick.
Marty,
That's the worst base running. That is Ruben Rivera base running.
No, come on. It wasn't as bad as Ramos. I remember in the infield fly rule. It was chaotic.
He's got nowhere to go.
I know
he's
that.
Standing on the bag.
But he's also thinking he can score on a.
Who cares? It doesn't matter. He's on the bag.
The ball. Yeah, I'm with Marty on this one. I thought he screwed it up too.
Wotus up and get him on the show here to explain this.
Well, what was the third base umpire? What was the third base? What was the third base coach?
Well, Dino Ebel should know. I don't know if he was screaming or what, but
I put it in the category of Ramos or Ruben Rivera. Come on. But just getting back to Snell for a second. He reminds me a little bit of Steve Carlton. That slider he has, I mean, that is as good as and then he's got a curve. He struck somebody out on a 3-2 curveball. It was perfect.
Yeah, Frelick, left-handed hitter. Yeah,
that was a terrific pitch. But getting back to the point about taking him out, it might not have been strictly Robert's decision. He might have said, "How you feeling?" And Snell might have been honest and said, "I'm a little tired." He might have said something like that, as opposed to some guys who would say, "I want one more inning," or see how I do in the first couple of batters. I don't think that's the case with Snell.
He pushed it a little bit in the 8th inning. He pushed it just a little bit in the 8th inning, I thought.
And Roki, he's been doing great in the postseason, so there was no hesitation. I would have made that move, right? Who am I though? But Snell went out there, pitched to Jim. Roki has been solid in the 9th, so it seemed like, hey, that seemed to be the logical move to go. And Roki just got a little bit shaky there at the end, and it made it interesting.
What about Ohtani? How about Ohtani? He's getting walked all the time to Mookie and all that. Ohtani's having one of those playoffs like he had last year, where he just kind of disappeared. But
you know what, Marty? It's happened twice now where they've walked him,
and
it's cost them the game.
Yep,
the opposition.
Yeah.
So even if he's 1 for 20, he is still affecting the outcome of a game.
Yeah.
It happened in Philadelphia. It happened tonight. They walked him like automatic, not even thinking about it. And I am not a fan, and I not just because of tonight. I do not like walking the bases loaded if you don't have to.
Yeah. Because
it puts so much pressure on your pitcher, and it puts pressure on your defense. It puts pressure on your infielders. You're asking them to, if it's hit right at you, you turn a double play. If it's not, come home. I mean, it just changes everything. Now, granted, force at every base, double plays. I get all that, but everything has to happen absolutely perfectly to turn a double play with the infield in.
And especially with these hard throwers. With these hard throwers like Kerkering or Uribe, these guys who just throw the ball hard. They don't quite have the command to just keep throwing strikes.
But I think tonight you have a better chance, as great as Ohtani is, and he is struggling. Right, I think you have a better chance of striking out Ohtani than striking out Mookie Betts. Right, and that's
right now.
That's there, you need a strikeout there because it's second and third, one out, and Ohtani's sensational, but he will strike out. Betts is just a different deal. And, it happened in Philadelphia. They walked the bases loaded, and Duran, who's a terrific reliever, he walked Betts. It happened again tonight. I've never been a big fan of walking the bases loaded unless there's just absolutely no other way to turn. Because it's still a strikeout situation if you face second and third and one out. And if you're thinking about a double play and all that, I get that. It happens, grounder to third, throw home, throw over. I understand that. But everything has to fit perfectly. And Betts is just, I just think he's a little bit more of a patient hitter. And when he's going well, he understands the situation. And I think Ohtani, even as great as he is, you can get him to chase occasionally. And that's why I didn't like the move. And I'm never real crazy about the walking the bases loaded thing. How do you guys feel about it? Eric, how do you feel about it?
I don't like walking the bases loaded if you have to. I mean, that's it does. Shohei Ohtani hasn't shown that he's going to go out there and do damage yet, right? As far as the postseason, right? You have fantastic regular season, but he's been pretty bad. And I think I'd take my chances with Shohei. You made a great point, with Mookie Betts. He's going to give you a little bit of a tougher fight, and a lot of times he'll just make contact, and it could be trouble for the opposing team. So why would you do that when you have Shohei, who's just not doing anything? Look, if he was killing the ball, I get it, right? But he hasn't been doing anything of that sort. So might as well take your chances against Shohei until he shows you can't.
No, if you had a lefty, you may deal with Shohei. A righty, I'm sorry. All you got to do is make contact, and the run's coming in. And the chances are he's going to make contact. Uribe doesn't have that kind of low and away stuff. You got to go up and in, up and in. We've seen it all month. And then low and away, and that's the way you got to get him. Uribe doesn't have that kind of command. Good point. So I would have gone after Betts, but Uribe's got to throw strikes.
Well, I tell you what, you know what? You know what gets a little tight when the bases are loaded and you have to throw strikes. I think that comes into play too. All of a sudden you start squeezing a little bit, right? Yeah. Rick?
Well, to Glenn's point, I think that if Ohtani is hot, I mean, his reputation precedes him. I mean, that's what walked him. But if he's not going well, I think you got to pitch to him with Betts on deck. I do. I agree with you. Yeah.
Mookie he's very smart, and he will put the ball. And I'm not saying Ohtani can't do any of that stuff either, because he certainly can. But anyways, that's what's fun about postseason. All of a sudden, every little move like that gets scrutinized, and then when the final score is 2-1, then it really gets scrutinized when you end up walking a runner in. But
how about Baez laying down the bunt?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He got the bunt down. He did a nice job getting the bunt down and make it second and third.
Yeah. So let's talk about that crazy play just a little bit, and then we'll kind of move on. But I mean, I don't think any of us have ever seen a play like that. It ends up being statistically, it's a grounded into a double play. Can you believe that one? That's what it is.
It is.
I believe it.
Yeah, that's I read that in a couple places, but I think there was so much going on there, and I don't know if you guys initially, when the play ran no replays, I couldn't really tell if it hit the wall, but I thought that it probably hit the wall just because it came off his glove a little weird and then popped back onto the field. So that was my thing, and I think the runners are looking maybe at an umpire to see what happened. Chad Fairchild, the left field umpire, he did wave his hands like this. And when you do kind of the safe signal on a play, that means no play was made. So he must have saw it hit the wall. But my thing with what I agree with Marty is if you're Hernandez, you're standing on third base. You're just waiting, right? And when Frelick kind of caught it the second time, right, even though it had hit the wall, he's on the warning track. So Hernandez, he couldn't score from third on a ball that was coming in from the warning track. So that tells me, I wonder, guys, if he was wandering toward home plate a little bit and then had to hustle back, because there's no way a legitimate base runner standing on third base can't score from third on a ball being thrown in from the center field warning track.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Right? That's the point. I think you're right, Marty. How can you equate this to Ruben Rivera, the worst base running in the history of the game? Hernandez didn't know what happened. It wasn't clear what happened. The announcers didn't know what happened.
He almost cost him a playoff game. His one job is to score on a fly ball. In baseball, as soon as the ball hits the glove, forget about off the wall. Did he catch it? Did he not catch it? Who cares? As soon as that ball hits the glove of Frelick, he's scoring.
Well, you're right.
He isn't going anywhere.
Well, I don't know about that, Marty. I don't know about that.
As soon as it touches the glove, he's gone.
Yeah, but it touched the glove and then it popped out of the glove.
It doesn't matter. He's on third.
But
As soon as it touches the glove, he's gone on the sacrifice fly.
What if he catches? Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
But it popped out. That's the point.
Who cares? That screwed up the runner on second. The runner on second didn't know what to do.
He needed to wait until it got caught the second time just to make sure. But he still had no reason not to make it home.
Hey, I'll say it again. When the ball hits the glove of Frelick, Hernandez is standing on the bag and he goes at that point. That's it. The guy on second, though, got screwed up because you didn't know if Frelick caught the ball or not.
But
and
Marty,
if he caught the ball, the guy on second can't go.
But he wasn't on third. I think Glenn's
That's the point.
Third. He was off third.
He was off getting a popcorn halfway down the line for nothing. Nothing. He didn't have to do that.
The third base coach is thinking, how can he not score from third? If it's caught, he scored. It's a sacrifice fly, right? He didn't know what.
I'd like to hear what Ebel's got to say about it, because Ebel should have been screaming, "Get on the bag."
And he probably was, but yeah, but even if Hernandez, even if he doesn't know what's going on,
it's a fly ball. Get on the bag.
And when it bounces off the wall, he's not sure that it hit the wall. He sees the second time, then make sure, and then tag up and go. Because he didn't know it hit the wall.
Where am I talking to myself here? On a sacrifice fly with the runner on third, you're on the bag. As soon as the ball hits the outfielder's glove, you go. You don't have to wait to see if it bobbles it. What if he gets in the glove and he bobbles it up in the air? Do you think he has to wait to see if he catches it the second time? No.
Yeah, yes.
No.
Yeah,
as soon as it hits the glove of the outfielder, he's gone. He's on third. He's on third base.
All right. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. If it hits your glove, pops up in the air, it's not a catch till you catch it the second time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what do you think was going through his mind?
Call your brother up and ask him. Would you please?
You got to secure the ball.
You got tomorrow. You got Kruk and Kuiper. I may have to tune in to hear Kruk and Kuiper tomorrow.
It's not a catch until you secure it.
So you're calling it a bonehead play, Marty?
Yes.
Bonehead.
Yep.
Well, it was. Absolutely it was. I mean, he should have never got thrown out.
But I think it was kind of there was too much chaos at it. No one knew what except for the left field umpire.
The left field umpire. Yeah, that's right, Rick. Chad Fairchild.
Yeah. I don't know how he could tell that the ball went off the wall.
His angle must have just been right, that he saw it hit the wall and then bounce back into Frelick's glove. So yeah, the left field umpire deserves a lot of credit. But nobody else knew what the heck was really going on. Eric, what are your thoughts on the play?
It was just incredible. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm listening to the announcers and say, it's a play at the plate. Oh, no, he's safe. What? No, he's out. And then I see Contreras making a beeline to third base. He touches, and all of a sudden you see one of these. I'm like, what just happened? What just and you saw the footage of Frelick out there, and he's just he
didn't know what happened.
He didn't know it. He's doing this. What the heck?
We'll take it one more absurd length here.
All right, Marty.
Fly ball to left field. All right, it's Ramos in left field. There's a runner on third. Ramos goes and catches the ball, and all of a sudden he kicks it up in the air and hits it up in the air twice and three times. You mean to tell me the runner on third can't go until he catches it the third time?
But Marty,
Frelick never caught it. It hit his glove and popped up. He never actually caught it. Never was a catch, and then it popped out of his glove. It hit the tip of his glove, and he's running up against the wall. He never secured the catch until it hit the wall and came back down off the wall. Then he caught it. That's when he could have tagged up.
Once it hits the glove, you're gone.
Well, I mean,
you know what? If that's the case, then he would have been called for leaving early.
Yeah, Mark,
to do that.
You're being too tough on the base runner. I really think you are.
All right. It was a very weird play, so you have to
Didn't he
consider
catch the ball?
that.
Didn't he catch the ball with his back to the plate?
Yeah.
All right. It was
he barely caught. Yeah, he caught it the second.
You couldn't see the ball for a second. It was goofy. It was good, but it wasn't Ruben Rivera.
Go get my glove out of my cabinet here.
No.
I'm going to go get my glove. I got the ball. And here's as soon as it hits the glove, you're gone. I don't care whoops, there goes my ball.
That's right there. That's what Frelick did right there, Marty, and it's not a catch.
It wasn't a catch because it went against the wall after it came out of his glove.
Right.
All right. So let's move on to what will be game 2.
Let's talk about the Brewers for a second. What are they going to do for pitching? I mean, come on. You saw Priester and Patrick tonight. Tomorrow it's Peralta. That's 5 innings, and he's going to be in the bullpen again. How are they going to go 7 games like this?
They got a good defensive team. They got a good team. That's a good baseball team.
Yes, it is. It's
really
you win 97 games, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they look good as a team. I mean, they didn't hit that well, but they pitched great. I mean, they had bearing in mind they're facing Snell, arguably the best pitcher in the game. You could make that point, and they hung in there. They just didn't hit that much. But you didn't think my analogy to Carlton was any good, Glenn?
Yeah, actually, that's actually really. I can't lie to you. I don't want to say I don't remember Steve Carlton, but I don't necessarily remember him like in his heyday. I mean,
he does. Yeah, Marty.
I do a little bit, but yeah, I think that's fair. Carlton had that great slider, and
oh man,
and Snell has that slider too. It's just the changeup that it just everything's the exact same coming out. It's just the same coming out. Fastball change.
You think the Giants should have signed him?
He's kind of I don't think Posey liked them.
They let Rodon go, they let Gausman go, they let Snell go, all because they didn't want to spend money on pitching. They had reasons for every one of them, but boy,
well,
he's pretty good.
I don't think they were that thrilled with Snell. Listen, he made 11 regular season starts this year. Dodgers don't care. For the Giants, if they're going to spend $200 million on a 5 or 6 year contract, they need the guy to make 30 starts. And I think that's an issue. I think Rodon was always going to be a 1-year rental. I think the Gausman one is the one that they screwed up. And I think that they will admit that now. I mean, it wasn't, Buster's group, but Gausman was the one that they should have kept because he wanted to stay. But for some reason,
he got a little funky towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
The split wasn't diving as much, and he didn't. They were worried he was going to get hurt and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
watching pitching today, watching these guys today, maybe the philosophy has got to be a little different. Maybe you're going to have to roll the dice here and spend some money to get a pitcher.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that that's absolutely positive. Yeah. I mean, but we'll see what happens. I want to get to the ALCS, you guys. Tell me what you think about that. Seattle at Toronto. And the Mariners win last night 3-1. They come back and win today 10-3. Surprise? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I like both these teams. I think they're both really good teams. But how can you not be impressed with Seattle? I mean, they're in a perfect spot. Now they go home for games 3, 4, and 5 in their own ballpark. Great atmosphere, and they're up 2-0. So what do you guys think about the ALCS so far? Marty?
Well, I thought Toronto sort of handed them the game, the first game. Gausman was pitching great. And, here's Cal Raleigh. Come on, 60 home runs. He's the only guy that can really hurt you with the long ball. Other people hit home runs, but this is the guy. And, you pitch around him, you bounce it, you do something. And Gausman just threw that splitter right down the middle, and Raleigh didn't miss it. And then they walk the next guy, and now Schneider's in the game, and he takes out Gausman, and here comes the parade of the bullpen. And they ended up losing the game 3-1. So that was one you got to stay with Gosman. It was
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I agree with that.
Unfortunate. But look, Seattle is good. Seattle is, they just keep playing. And the guy, they got it. We've seen this in the playoffs before. Beltran, who was it? The guy from Atlanta, was it Rosario? Was that the guy? And look at Polanco. He's having one of those playoffs where every time the guy comes up in a big situation, he's got a beautiful swing and he's winning games. And you get a guy who gets hot like that, and all of a sudden you're in shape. So I think Seattle's in really, really good shape here.
Eric, what do you think?
And this was interesting because with Seattle, that last game against the Tigers, you thought they were going to be a little bit spent. 15 innings. You got to fly halfway across the continent, almost, actually a little bit more. And then the next day, you got a game against the Blue Jays. So for that fact, look, Seattle played a great series, but I thought they were going to be a little bit fatigued. They haven't shown any of that. They've come out and they've dealt. They're kind of doing exactly what I thought the Toronto Blue Jays were going to do: make contact, occasionally hit a home run. And to Marty's point, yesterday, I don't know why they didn't keep Gosman in the game. And we've kind of been seeing that throughout the postseason. A little bit of overmanaging going on all the clubs, where the manager's going out there a little bit too early and giving a quick hook, and then they're relying on the bullpen. I guess that's just kind of where the game is now. You're just relying on the heavy use of the bullpen. But man, I tell you, Seattle's in the driver's seat. You had you had Toronto with the momentum. You got done just beating the Yankees. I don't know. Maybe they got a little bit overconfident. Hey, this is Seattle. They're a little bit on the weak side because they just played this huge game. And, maybe we could take advantage of that. And look, Seattle, to their credit, are coming out and they're doing some damage. And yes, Polanco, my gosh, that guy is just, it seems like anytime you need that key hit, he's getting it somewhere, whether it's the long ball or that base hit like he did in that game against the Tigers. So,
great swing.
It is. And now you're going back to Seattle, as Glenn, you mentioned, you're in the driver's seat. If Toronto wants to do anything, they're going to have to. They got to get it back to Toronto. So it's not going to be easy for Toronto. And how about that Trey Savage today? Didn't quite have the same stuff he did against the Yankees. He just wasn't as sharp as he was against the Yankees.
Rick, what do you think about the ALCS so far?
Well, I think Derek's point. I thought they blew up their bullpen in that last game, 15-inning game with Detroit, and they turned out they beat them twice on the road. I never thought that would happen after that, all that pitching, and I thought they were exhausted too, and they came back and they won. But two solid teams. These four teams are all good teams. I would have picked the Blue Jays. And they could still win easily. They could still win.
Well, what do they can do for pitching too? They're in Milwaukee's boot. They got Bassett, right, Glenn? Is Bassett on the team?
Yep.
But don't you think these teams are playing fundamentally good baseball? Because I do, and I don't think the Giants measure up to that class. I really don't.
Yeah, you talk about that, the Mariners bullpen, and I think that's a big story because of, like you guys said, the game on Saturday night, which goes 15 innings, and they bullpen throws like 200 pitches, something like that. But first two games in this series, Seattle bullpen, 9 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs.
Wow.
So whatever tired they are, they're not showing it. And I think the Seattle team, and I know it's easy to say because they're up 2-0, but the one thing that they have comparable to the Dodgers is starting pitching.
Mm-hmm.
They have 4 or 5 guys. Gilbert's pretty good. Castillo's pretty good. Kirby's pretty good. And they're going to get the Woo kid back. The Bay Area kid, really good. So they have 4 or 5 starters that, so they have that starting pitching depth where they're not running openers out there. They're not running reliever. It's none of that, which, we're kind of seeing that with Toronto a little bit. We're seeing that in Milwaukee. And I'm not saying it's not working. I'm just saying, more conventionally, the Dodgers and the Mariners are the 2 teams that, in my opinion, have enough pitching. And I think that's what makes them a little scary just because they don't have to maybe worry so much about, okay, we got to go 5-6 guys here, and then what are we going to do the next night? You got the starters, you plug them in, and it's a 7-game series. You need 4 starters, so they're a little more conventional with how they're going about their business here in this postseason. And I don't know, that always makes me feel more comfortable about a team when they can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Naylor, Naylor's hitting.
Yep.
Rosarena can give it. He's stealing bases. They're just playing. They're just playing good ball. They're
It
playing
looked to me like they couldn't get Naylor out. He was on every pitch, every strike he was on. When you're in a groove like that, I never was in a groove like that. It looks like you can't get a pitch by a guy like that. You just can't get a pitch by. Do we have to look at the dog, Marty, during the whole show?
The dog's better looking than Marty, though. I know that.
He's been eating my books here. All right.
It reminded me of that Bonds against Gagne.
That's what I love, Marty. All of a sudden, there's a dog on my show.
He was eating the books. I didn't, all right. I'll let him
introduce.
So Seattle up 2-0. Game 3 Wednesday. Bieber and Kirby in Seattle. So Shane Bieber, who is going to be a free agent, a guy out there that maybe the Giants will take a look at. But anyways, Bieber and Kirby on Wednesday. And boy, Seattle, guys, the only team in the major leagues that has never made it to the World Series, and they're 2 games away. I mean, that's a pretty cool story if you think about it.
That is a cool story. And Rick, to your point about Josh Naylor, that guy's a ball player, ain't he? I mean, when he stole third against the guy is he's smart. Not only does he have a great bat, he's got the IQ, and I love that about Josh Naylor. I would love to see him on the Giants next year, but unfortunately, he plays a position that's.
I think they could give the Dodgers trouble. You know that if the Dodgers end up Milwaukee, I think Seattle could give the Dodgers for that reason. Look, they got Suarez too. Who can run into one here and there. He hit 49 home runs, and Julio Rodriguez is very quiet here because Naylor now and Raleigh are the ones you look at, and Julio hit a 3-run shot today. It's a lot of fun. The Saturday night game we haven't really talked about was just unbelievable. It was Saturday, Friday night. I forget what night it was, but that was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think games like that is, your initial thought is, man, how exhausting for the players. But I think it's the opposite. How exhilarating for the players to win a game like that. A game, 15 innings battle in front of your home fans, and that it sends you to the next round of the postseason. We've all talked to guys who played in the postseason, and adrenaline just carries you through. And I've talked to players that said as soon as the postseason was over, when it ended forever, whether it's a loss or whatever, is all of a sudden that exhaustion hits you, and you're just tired for 2 weeks. But at this point, adrenaline is just carrying these guys. So, are guys tired? Of course. I mean, heck, it's 8:47. I'm tired. We're all tired, right? None of us are young guys anymore, except you, Eric. But that 15-inning game, I think that exhilarated the Seattle Mariners. Forget about them being tired.
Yeah.
And look, Munoz is doing his job here. He's been all over the place. He's throwing strikes. Everything is clicking for them. They're playing good ball right now. They run too. They'll steal a bat.
Yep, it's a good solid team.
What did you guys think about the lack of the ghost runner, the old school way to play the extra innings? Was that good, or do you think they should have maybe played the 10th, 9th, and 10th innings, 10th and 11th innings, old school, and then put the ghost runner on after that?
That's good. I think that's a great question, Rick. I don't hate the ghost runner in the regular season. I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
The reason I'm kind of okay with it is because you have instant excitement as soon as the top of the 10th starts.
Mm-hmm.
You got an instant rally, and I think it brings people to the edge of their seat a little bit So for that, I'm good. But I don't think I want anything manufactured in the postseason.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And putting a runner at second is a manufactured runner. I mean, it is. Let's stick him out there. So, yeah, I'm kind of okay within the regular season, but I don't want to see it in the postseason. I think it's being done the right way. Just the postseason. Baseball is a pretty pure sport, and there's some things that have been put in there now that are, I think, good for the game. But we don't want to. We want to keep it as pure as we can, and just a regular extra innings in postseason. Yeah, I think it has to be that way.
Well, after watching 15 innings, I was exhausted. I said, call Brandon Belt up, get him in this game. I said this could go 22 or 20 innings.
Yeah.
So, the thing is, and I thought about it, and I'm glad we could talk about it. During the regular season, it would be tough to have this normal, the way it used to be, extra inning. Relief pitchers are so good. They're so good. It's tough to score runs. You may have, for the norm, 12 or 13 inning games.
Yeah.
If they're extra inning games, as opposed to a 10 inning game or 11 once in a while, or 12, my God, never, with the ghost runner. So if you didn't have it, relief pitching is 98, 100, 100. It's tough to make a whole rally and score runs. And I saw it in that game. So I think, honestly, for where we are in life today and the way the game of baseball is perceived and played during the regular season, I think it's necessary. Now, this part, I mean, what would they have done for pitching? Well, what if this was game 2? No, or game 3 with game 4 and 5 right after that or something, what would they have done if they used up their whole staff? So it's a dilemma.
And I got a couple of points too. Is that why we saw such a premium on relievers this offseason? Because there is teams paying I say paying as in trades and players, but they were paying a hefty price to fortify their bullpens, whether it was the Mets, the Padres. I think the Blue Jays also went out there and got somebody, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, you could kind of see it, to your point, Marty, right? Because the pitching coming out of the bullpen is so insane with the velocity that, I could see the troubles of, during the regular season where you're going to have a lot of extra inning games. And then now bringing that into the postseason, you could tell teams aren't used to manufacturing runs. They're not. They're used to having that runner on second because trying to scratch a run across, there's no change at the plate. They're swinging out of their ass, trying to just hit the ball at their fence rather than just trying to make contact. And it's to your point, Marty, the game of baseball has changed. It's evolved. And I think we're kind of seeing how it's playing out right now.
Yeah, especially in the bullpen. These guys, everyone throws 100. You don't throw 98 or 99 or 100, they don't want you.
And two, I mean, that's a great point, Marty. And two, I think in thinking about how, these extra inning games could be going 14, 15 innings if you do have the ghost runner, you're also bringing in relievers earlier in the game now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So guys are coming in the 6th inning, hard throwers coming in the 6th inning. And if a game goes 14 innings, no ghost runner in a regular season, you're going to use 6, 7 relievers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and that's the reason for the ghost runner, I think, is let's shorten the games. Let's try to save our pitchers a little bit. So I think the reasons behind it are good. And for the most part, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Purists don't like it, but let's keep it the way it is in the postseason. What do you think, Rick?
Well, yeah, I like the change for the ghost runner during the regular season. The postseason, I could see a modified situation where you played the 10th and 11th, maybe 12th with the old rule, and then after that, maybe you have the ghost runner. But I'm okay with it. I don't like change, but this was a good change for the regular season, just like the pitch clock, because I go to the whole game. I've lost friends out there. I stay for the whole game, the last out. And, I've been out there for a long time at night sometimes, especially at Candlestick.
Did you get the quad candlestick, Rick?
Yeah, I got a lot of those. But the old school, it works for me for the postseason. No problem.
Yep.
So let me ask you a question about Snell. Would anyone have left Snell in for the 9th inning?
I would have.
No.
I think I would have.
You would have?
I don't listen. I mean, there's some question marks about Snell, and I don't know. Did he say I'm done? Maybe. Did Dave Roberts make the call, say, hey, nice job, you're good, we're going with Sasaki? Maybe. We don't know what the conversation was, but if it was just a black and white, yes and no, I would have probably sent him out. I mean, they weren't doing anything against him.
Oh.
They had one hit. He was just rolling along, and so he throws 115 pitches. Well, that it's the playoffs, man. I mean, let's go.
That's fair.
So I would have probably let him go out there, only because he was just completely dominant and he was in complete control of the game. I know what happened is, but I was like, I wonder if they'll leave him in there. I'd like to see him leave him in there, but I'm not surprised they didn't, but I would have liked to see him go out there. I think it would have been a good theater.
Why not tell him, look, go out there. Somebody gets on, I'm taking you out. As long as he might not have been good with it, though. We
don't know. You're right.
Right. And I don't know what the conversation was, but he was so dominant. I just think when they got the extra run, that allowed Roberts to do what he wanted to do, which was to take him out.
Yeah, you may be right.
I thought he had Sasaki up in the 8th inning. I know it was a very fast 8th inning.
He was lightly throwing Marty, but it didn't look like he was thinking about coming in at all. I mean, I think he was just, it was a real light.
Playing catch.
Yeah. So, hey, managers, let's talk a little bit about managers, and then we'll let you guys go. And we'll get to the Giants thing at the end. But Mike Schilt today, I don't know. What did he resign? I don't know what it said. He's not the manager of the Padres. I'm not exactly sure what the heck happened. But anyways, Schilt was there for 2 years. Obviously, he has a very talented team. From what people are saying, he's a very good manager. What did you guys think about that? Is there something up again in San Diego? That was my initial thought is, I know what happened with Bob Melvin down there. It was not easy for him. He was not super happy. All of a sudden, Mike Schilt, who probably could keep that job for a while if he wanted to, he said, no, I'm done. Sounded like it was his call. We don't know that for sure. I don't know. To me, something's a little off down there. And I've heard rumblings, about the analytics department is very heavy down there handed, and that Preller can be a handful to work for. That's the things that I've heard. Marty, what have you heard about that?
I tend to go along with what you just said. Anything that has to deal with AJ Preller usually has more to the story than just typically, well, we're going to change managers. Look, this guy got him in the playoffs twice. He had over 90 wins twice. So he said it physically, emotionally, mentally, as he was worn down, from the season. So probably there's a lot of stuff that goes on down there that we don't know. And I would tend to agree with you. There's more than meets the eye.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah. And to that point, how many managers has Preller gone through during his tenure? I think it's quite a few. And you had Bob Melvin. He also took him to the NLCS. Let's not forget that. He took him pretty deep into playoffs. The following year, he wasn't as successful. But everyone wants to point to the manager. But, yeah, what's going on with AJ Preller? Because I got a feeling there's something going on there. We don't know what the story is. You guys are alluding to that. but there has to be something at play with Preller and why these managers aren't just sticking around for whatever reason, whether it's Preller wanting to let them go or whether it's the managers themselves that say, hey, I think I've had enough. I'm just going to hang them up.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got a lot of talent. They paid a lot of money for these guys. And I've heard, but I don't know where I heard it from. I don't know how good the information is that Preller is the problem to work for. That's the friction that Melvin had. So I don't know. Schultz a good manager. Something going on down there. That's for sure.
Well, then you got to deal with Manny and Tatis, and that's the ball club. And again, that's the common factor. That's sort of the thread that's gone through a few of these managers. So who knows? But the big question is, and Barry Bloom was on with us the other day, and Rick, you pointed this out. Barry Bloom says Bochy should go to San Diego and straighten it out. Rick, what do you think about that?
That who should go there?
Remember Bochy? Barry Bloom said, well, yeah.
I don't think Bochy should manage again. And he's got a tremendous legacy. What a career. He's a Hall of Fame manager, 4 World Series championships. Why go back? I mean, he must be addicted to managing, which I can't blame the guy. But I don't know. It just seems like Boch is going to stain his legacy if he goes back, especially to San Diego, which has had now a history of problems with managers leaving and getting.
What do you think, guys? You think Bochy would go?
No, I don't. I think he'd have to have the perfect situation for him to keep managing. I'm not saying he doesn't want to. I don't know. Listen, Boch is smart, and all these guys, they know what's going on in San Diego because they all talk.
Yeah,
they know. I mean, they're not telling us, but I think there's something up down there, and Boch is like, hey, I don't want to deal with that. Something's up down there. That's my call.
Yeah.
Boch doesn't need to do anything. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need anybody telling him what to do. And there's some stories coming out of San Diego. So I don't know.
Okay.
Let's get to the Giants search, and then we'll finish the show, guys. Not kind of quiet, very quiet managerial search. Now, Major League Baseball doesn't like you making any big announcements during the postseason or specifically the World Series. If I remember that correctly, they kind of, they don't want you to spoil the World Series by making some big announcement. But I know Buster's he always keeps everything close to the vest. He's doing a really good job on this one because nobody's hearing anything. I mean, nobody's even writing about it. And I'm sure people are digging for rumors and digging for info, but nothing going on that we're hearing about, which probably means, guys, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Marty, what do you think?
Yeah, they're probably interviewing, I imagine, people who are not in the playoffs right now. I don't know. I just, this Nick Hundley thing is it's too easy. I mean, if they wanted Nick Hundley, you could hire him now. Why string this out 2 or 3 more weeks or something like that if that's the guy you want? So the longer it goes, it makes me wonder maybe that's not the guy that they want. If they want Stephen Vogt, I said it on Twitter and, got some reactions to it. If you really love the Stephen Vogt idea, make a trade for him. You got pieces. Cleveland needs a lot of work. If Stephen Vogt went to the ownership of Cleveland and said, look, I love you guys. It's been great, but, I'd really like to go back to California. Can we make this happen? Maybe they would go along with it and make a deal, and then they could make Craig Albernaz the manager of the Indians or the Guardians and, let it go that way. Because if Buster wanted Albernaz, if he wanted Hundley, I think he could have him right now. So the longer it goes, the more it makes me think there's some negotiations going on, maybe around Vogt.
Interesting.
Something
to think about.
Yeah,
I'd rather get at least some experience in the minor leagues, man. You get somebody just cold with no managing experience. It almost tells me if he picks Hundley, or a Hundley type. Maybe he wants to control the manager more so than we normally see. Of course, they work with Vogt. He never managed before, right?
Yeah.
It worked with Vogt.
I don't think they're worried about it.
In an ideal situation, you'd have somebody with some experience, even though they're young. On the other hand, I guess Buster likes him a lot, but boy, no experience, that makes it difficult.
Glenn, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't worry so much about the no experience thing. I know. I mean, you'd like to at least feel like the guy knows what to do in the dugout. But I think Hundley's everybody raves about the guy, and I've said this all along. Two things. Buster wants to have his own guy managing him. When I say own guy, I don't mean he wants to have a guy that he can tell what to do and the guy's going to do it. I don't think that's the way Buster operates. I really don't. I think he left Bob alone for the most part, but I think Buster wants to have a relationship with the manager. He wants to go in this thing together. Let's be on the same page. Let's move forward and let's not have this a 2-year thing. Let's bring this organization to where it should be. And I think he wants somebody that he can do that with. And if it's somebody that he knows well, that's probably even better. Buster's not going to hire somebody just because he's his friend. That's not the way he is. He's going to hire somebody that he's got a relationship with, and that will help them work together. I don't know how really when he took the job, he and Bob didn't really know each other at all. Not that hindered anything, but I just feel like I think he wants to have a guy like, let's do this together. Okay, let's go in it together.
I think he wants to have his generation. Bob was his generation. I think they want it. I think he wants someone he can trust, who's part of his gen. And look, Buster's still a young man. He's only 37. And if he hired a guy, who was 57, it's an older person. But I still think it's someone who's baseball-wise generational with him, thinking along what he does. So maybe Hundley is the right guy. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah,
and I think the most current news was Brandon Hyde supposedly got an interview with Buster Posey, according to John Shea. He's a little bit younger. I think 48, 49 kind of fits in that mold that you're talking about, Marty, being a younger guy. And he's done it, right? He fills the boxes that Rick is talking about, having some experience. And that's kind of where I would like to be. I mean, one thing I've been talking about Stephen Vogt, I was like, I don't want people to get caught up in the Vogt effect. Just because Vogt is able to do it, that you could do that with anybody. And again, that's just my take. I want someone who's at least coached. That doesn't mean anything, maybe not, but I would like to have someone at least have done that. And managing is even more than just quote unquote the vibes and the communication. Well, it is communication, but talking about with your players in your clubhouse. But you got your pre-game interviews, your post-game interviews, interacting with the press. You're going to be able to handle it's a multifaceted position. It's just not leading 26 men into battle, so to speak. I mean, a large part of that incorporates that, but there's a lot of other things that the manager is going to have to be able to do. And I would like to just have someone that has a little bit of experience in handling that type of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think too, I like Marty's idea of the generational thing. I do think that's important. A guy that I love, and only because I think he's just phenomenal on TV, and he does have some managerial experience. I don't know if he wants to be a big league manager. I think maybe he does. Is Mark DeRosa. I love Mark DeRosa. Plus, he's just like an awesome guy, right? And he's got the USA team in the World Baseball Classic. He's the manager. He gets it. He's good. I think he would be a great major league manager. I just don't know that. If he wants that type of job, I'm not sure. But that's a name that I think would be great. But that's only because he's just an awesome dude. So I don't know if that would be my criteria. He's an awesome dude. Let's hire him.
Yeah.
Maybe that works. Maybe that's all you need.
Yeah, that's right. I'm simple.
You know, he's very personable, and he was here. We liked him here. He was terrific here. With the USA team, he needed Jerry Manuel. I think, wasn't it Jerry Manuel who's his right-hand man there? I think it was him.
Yeah.
I forget who. Maybe Ken Griffey was there, but you know, he definitely needed some help. Dave Righetti was the pitching coach.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think the thing is, if you hire any of these guys, you got to surround them with some pretty solid people. Solid people. You can't have, you know, we're all learning at the same time thing.
Well, you could have a senior bench coach to help you out, I guess.
Very much so. Yeah, it's like Don Zimmer used to sit with Joe Torre.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if they paid well enough money, you know, they could get him back in the dugout, you know.
He'd be terrific.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, Marty, is put a veteran guy in there. I mean, that would make a huge difference. And I don't think any first-time manager or young manager would. I would think if they're worth what you hope they are, they would want that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I would want a young guy to be like, yeah, give me somebody that I can go to when I need to during the game, after the game. If you get a young guy who comes in there and says, I don't need that, well, then it's not the guy you want.
I agree.
And I think the people we're talking about would do that. I think they would want somebody next to them that can, you know, just guide them occasionally when something comes up that, you know, maybe they're not sure about. And
we'll see action the next 3 weeks. They've got to put a staff together with a manager and a lot of stuff. And plus, they need players.
They may be doing that.
Well, you can't have a rookie manager and a rookie bench coach.
No.
You can't do that.
I don't think that's going to happen. But
they need, you know, they need players too. They got a lot to do. So the sooner they get this settled, I think the better they'll be.
Yeah. And who knows, guys? I mean, maybe this silence. I mean, they may have this thing somewhat locked up already. They're just not announcing it. You know what I mean? I mean, that to me is very much a possibility.
Yeah.
That they're closing in on this thing, and whoever they get has his people that he would want. You know, we don't know where they are in the process, but it certainly has been quiet. So.
All right. Who wins the World Series?
Oh man, I hate it. I hate. The Dodgers are really, really.
Yeah, they are.
They're really good. I mean, that the pitching thing just jumps out at me, guys. I can't. You know, even the Seattle thing I mentioned, but even the Seattle guys are good, but the Dodger guys can be dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see Yamamoto.
What if Seattle played the Dodgers? Who gets the 7th game? Who had more wins, Eric? Seattle? Isn't that it?
Ooh,
yeah.
The Dodgers had 93. I think Seattle had 90. Hold on. Does that sound right, guys?
Yeah.
90?
That sounds about right. I think Dodgers have more wins.
Let me see. Hold on. Seattle had 90. Dodgers had 93.
So they would get the
home
4
field.
games in LA.
There you go. So,
Yeah.
but then again, I don't.
I think Seattle can handle them. I really do.
You giving Seattle their first World Series appearance?
I think they can handle. We'll see if they get past Toronto. Look, Toronto wins 1 or 2 games here. All of a sudden, you got a series.
Well, they better win 2.
Yeah.
They win 1, this baby's over.
Yes, you know, I just think it could be Seattle's time.
Yeah.
You know, before tonight, you know, I thought they were the Dodgers. Now I'm talking about their lineup speaks for itself. Great defense, great starting pitching, but they had a problem in the bullpen, and Trinan is still a problem. But Sasaki looked kind of vulnerable there in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
So maybe there is some hope. maybe.
Yeah, and the Brewers aren't going to go. The Brewers will not go down and die. They are a tough group.
They're going to need a game from Peralta. They're going to need more than 5 innings from him tomorrow.
Yeah. They need him to come up. So, You know what, guys? That's going to be it. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to let you guys go to bed. Rick, thank you. It's always great talking to you. Marty, what can I say? You're the best.
It's fun.
And Eric, thanks for all your help. Thanks for coming on. And
You betcha.
yeah, so we'll see what happens. We'll do this again maybe after the World Series, and we'll see who wins this whole thing. But thanks, guys. I appreciate you checking in, and always good stuff from everybody. Thanks, man. All right. Thanks to Rick and Eric and Marty Lurie, as they are they're fun to talk to. They know what they're talking about, and I always appreciate talking good baseball. We don't always agree, but you don't want to always agree. So, anyways, and the comments. I know we had a lot of comments tonight, and I appreciate them. It's a little harder to get to them when we have 2 or 3 guests on. But Bake That Dough wanted to check in. Says with a super chat, we call him. Bake That Dough says, "Great show, fellas. Looking forward to the next one." And as always, we appreciate Bake That Dough, and we appreciate everybody. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and as always, keep the comments coming. I like reading them after the thought. Like tomorrow morning, I just go back in and I like to get thoughts from everybody. So I did want to let you know, and we talked a little bit about it on my X account, but tomorrow night, after Game 2 of the Dodgers-Brewers series, we got a special show. Kruk and Kuiper are going to join us. So my brother Dwayne and Mike Kruko will be on together, not separately, together, Kruk and Kuiper. So they will join me tomorrow night to talk about the postseason, much like we did tonight. We'll get their thoughts on the Giants managerial search. So it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. We all know how Giants fans and baseball fans feel about Kruk and Kuiper, and they're going to be here tomorrow night. Again, right after the final out of Game 2, Dodgers and Brewers, head right on over to my YouTube channel, The Glen Kuiper Show, and it'll be me and Kruk and Kuiper. So that's the tease for tomorrow night, and we're very much looking forward to it. So that's it for the show. The show is brought to you by the Carrick Real Estate Team. Whether you're moving up, downsizing, or making your first purchase, trust the Carrick Real Estate Team to guide you home. Contact Mike Carrick today for a free home sale or purchase consultation. Call 925-548-4132. Go to their website at carrickteam.com. Also brought to you by the good people at Tilden Properties. By investing with Tilden Properties, you'll see quarterly dividends and equity buildup in the real estate market. Bay Area-based family-owned Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008. They do that by purchasing multi-family real estate. That's pretty good business to be in. So give them a call at 925-209-8558. It's tildenproperties.com. We're also brought to you by Valone Insurance. Are you tired of being overcharged on your property insurance? Valone Insurance has multiple options for your home and landlord properties. Save big money on your property insurance. Call Kyle or Ron at Valone Insurance, 925-433-8271. Thanks to all the viewers tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Again, join us tomorrow night after the final out of the Dodgers-Brewers game. It'll be the Glen Kuiper Show with Kruk and Kuiper. We're looking forward to that. We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show.